faith, love, openness, willingness. You're in the flow with Rev Skip. Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of In the Flow with Rev Skip. And I am Rev Skip. And when you are in the flow, you have faith that a transformation is happening. You love yourself through each and every step of this transformation and be open and willing to have a new experience. I welcome you to In the Flow, where you just never know what's going to happen here, but I just know that it's always God, it's always good, it's always spirit. I am so grateful. And, I always say this, I never do this show alone. I'm here at the New Thought Media Network, and my co-producer's on a vacation. Oh, my Diego, but he did not leave me by myself. I have Rev Briz here. Come in, my brother. Hey, man.
Of course, I forgot to unmute my microphone, right?
It's a live podcast.
How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
I'm doing so well. It's a treat to have you in this show right now, in the flow with me. Thank you for supporting me today and helping us as Diego's on a vacation, a well-deserved vacation, right?
Well-deserved vacation, absolutely. And he came to me first and he said, "Hey, can I?" And I said, "Well, there's no can you. You tell me when you are, and then we figure it out." And
that's right.
He's having a wonderful time. He's been to Niagara Falls so far, and he's in Vermont now. And I promised him nobody would call and nobody would reach out and say help. And and I haven't talked to him. He's having a great time. And it's been great for me because I've gotten to connect with show hosts, right, that I haven't. And it's been great. We've spent the morning together, some time connecting and sharing and being in that creative space of, what's going to happen? Right. And so it's been wonderful for me to be filling in for Diego this week as well.
So how does it feel to see, because you are our creative director, our spiritual director here at this ministry at New Thought Media Network, and our network is growing. I'm seeing incredible shows. I'm watching and following all the hosts. How do you see this as your baby expanding and growing and getting out into the world?
Expanding, growing, and getting out into the world. Yes. As a father of a couple of teenage boys, I can tell you, this one's a little different. We are, though. We're bursting at the seams with creativity, and that's what the vision of this has been. And this whole ministry from its very earliest inceptions has been part of allowing and embracing and serving an emerging vision for something that we haven't experienced before. Yeah. And bit by bit, part by part, we premiered a new show this week, yesterday. Danae Shanti, sorry, Danae, I apologize. Her program is now in the archives. We're going to have that every week. We've got a new program coming in just a few weeks on conscious relationships. Actually, and it's opt-in, and a minister and a practitioner, husband-wife team are going to bring us new programming in that regard. So music, media, and entertainment. I love that. A little bit of both, of all three. With a little bit of education thrown in there.
Of course, we got to educate. What I love about New Thought Media Network and what I love about you and love about Diego, it was like, come and join us and just be Rev Skip. Do what you do. And part of my ministry is helping those who have felt marginalized throughout their life to understand that God loves you right where you are and who you are. And I am a proud member of our LGBTQA plus community, and you allow me to rep present that with pride. And it's our Pride Month, Rev. It's
our
Pride Month.
and I can say, as a long time ally,
Thank you.
It's always been important for me to say, hey, this isn't me to be out front of. This is for me to be in the back of the room and lead from the back, and lead from that place of saying, you do, but I'm going to stand here, and anybody gives anybody any grief, I'm going to stand here like an old middle-aged white guy.
Thank you for being our ally. That's what we need, more allies in this world. One of the things I'm very proud of is Shop Rev Skip, which is now called the Awake Shop, where I do t-shirt lines and have coffee cups and mugs and water. You're wearing your In the Flow shirt. There you go. I love it, In the Flow. And this is our Pride edition of the Flow t-shirt. And part of the proceeds of what we do will go to help supporting this ministry, the New Thought Media Network. The 10% of what we do for the Flow t-shirts will go to help support this movement of oneness.
Yes.
I'm grateful for that. Yeah, and I'm going to show the promo here. And if you are listening to this as a podcast, you'll have to go to my website and see this. But this is for our Pride collection. Hey, Rev, I want to tell you, I got a lot of flack for that on social media this week. I had, we launched the Pride collection, and people started attacking homophobic slurs. And there were other people who don't believe the same way of New Thought. They're very Christian, going, you should be teaching the Bible, and you need God, and what kind of minister are you? And then I realized, okay, this is the universe telling me that I'm doing the right thing. I'm in the right space,
You are in the right space, absolutely. I just looked at that and went, okay, I need a hat, I need a t-shirt.
Thank you.
I'm sure there's probably at least a couple other things on there. So I think I just spent my promotional budget for the month. But
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Skip, for the work you're doing. Thank you for being a part of the network. And more importantly, thank you for who you are in the world, who you're being on the planet, how you are being a voice, not just for those that have been oppressed and marginalized, but also being a strong voice of what we can experience and where we're moving in the world, and how collectively together we are creating a world that works for all.
Oh, blessings. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Rev. Appreciate you. All right, everyone. And now it's time for... It's Wellness Wake Up with Rev Skip. And today our Wellness Wake Up comes from something I really, truly, truly, truly believe in. And I believe in it's time to take a walk. And this message comes from Thich Nhat Hanh. And he says that every path, every street in the world is your walking meditation path. Let me say that again. Every path, every street in the world is your walking meditation path. So if you don't know who Thich Nhat Hanh is, please check him out. A monk, and he's been one of our spiritual leaders forever. And he has created, he was the one who really talked about walking meditation, walking with purpose. So for our Wellness Wake Up this week, I'm going to invite us to go out into nature and take a walk. Be mindful of the land that you walk underneath. Take a very slow walk. Get into nature, feel the grass, maybe go to the beach if you live by the beach, and really connect with your connection. He's also said that we carry Mother Earth in our hearts. So as we're walking mindfully, and walking is a great way to up our fitness level and to feel better and to alleviate all the things we don't want in our life. But if we walk with mindfulness, we are able to connect with spirit. So that's our Wellness Wake Up this week. Get out, take a walk in nature. So now it's time for... Diego does this so much better than I do. It is our quotable ponder, and our quotable ponder is simply a quote that we love to ponder. So I'm going to have you think about this today. Our quotable ponder comes from James Baldwin. James Baldwin is probably one of my favorite authors, openly gay man, queer author. And since we're celebrating Pride Month, every quotable ponder comes from someone who is openly gay. And James Baldwin says this: not everything that is face can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is face. I'm going to say that again. Not everything that is face can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. One of the things I'm learning about this journey of enlightenment, of waking up to not finding God, but finding where I fall into God, is facing that I am LGBT. I'm LGBTQA in this diverse, expansive experience of God. And as I have been embracing that, I had to face some of the things that I, held on to: internalized homophobia, internalized racism. And it wasn't until this year that I really began to do a deep dive in all the deep-rooted things I've been holding on to. So my work has been to face my fears, face my doubts, face what I deem to be negative about myself, and really begin to embrace self-love. It's a journey, y'all. It is such a journey to wake up and to understand that there's nothing wrong with us. We were created in the divine uniqueness of spirit. We are a divine emanation of the one. And when we begin to face all the things that we deem to be negative about ourselves, we're able to create a space to walk into a place of embracing. So that is our quotable ponder today, James Baldwin. And if you don't know James Baldwin, search out the writings. If Beale Street Could Talk, so many things. He's a great documentary on, I think, Netflix or on Amazon. I'm Not Your Negro, based on James Baldwin's writing. So please check it out. And he is our quotable ponder today. So y'all, I am so grateful for our guest. In fact, our guest, I have followed him on Insight Timer, where I am actually a part of. I am a teacher as well. And part of this work that we get to do is about self-love, and our guest is all about that. So I'm going to talk about him before I actually start to interview him. But let me talk to you about Reuben Lowe. He's the founder of a digital platform called Mindful Creation. That's deep, y'all. As well as a nonprofit for young people called Act On It, specializing in mindful-based therapies. He works on one of the largest health clinics in the Southern Hemisphere and is passionate about empowering others to be a part of change that's taking place in the world. So everyone, please welcome in my guest, my friend, Reuben Lowe. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Skip, I am, well, it's 2:30 in the morning, as you know.
Yes.
But I'm really good. It's lovely to connect with you in this context as well and see what you're doing and the energy you put out. It's just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So
we've been following each other, and we got a little, connection to Instagram. And when you said I'm available to be on the show, and I went, that's an absolute yes, because of what you teach on Insight Timer and what you teach in your community. So powerful. And one of the things I love to ask you right off the bat is, how have you been maneuvering through this pandemic, which we're about to emerge out of? And as I understand, Australia and New Zealand has done much better than what we've done in the United States. But how have you been maneuvering through our pandemic?
Faith.
Oh,
you like that, didn't you?
Yes,
you like that.
Yes.
Yeah, we could just leave it there and bask in that. Couldn't we,
the mic drop right there. Faith. Okay, enough said. But yeah. I'm not going to. We have a show to do, so please continue on. What do you mean by faith?
Yeah, exactly. So, well, definitely faith. I think what's really been keeping me going is I've had these passion projects for about 11 years now, and it's not that it's like an easy kind of like a ride and it's just a bed of roses and everything. Like when you've got projects, it's you you come up with many milestones, but also a lot of hurdles as well. So, but now things are really starting to take hold, and I'm really kind of much more in alignment with the expression of who I wanted to be and am, which is basically recognizing I am me, right?
Yeah.
And being able to really really walk the walk in a way where I am not trying to be someone that I'm not, and just recognizing my own glitches and faults and flaws.
Yeah.
And in doing that, that's my doorway into my own spirituality, right?
Yeah.
But to answer your question, look, it's been a tough pandemic for me, particularly because there's a number of reasons, and I know everybody else is struggling as well. But what's really kept me going is continuing to do this work, and things like the resources that I offer on Insight Timer, the live events that I do. They really help keep me going, and the energy that I get from people, it's a two-way thing. People like to thank me and say thank you so much. Thank you so much for your energy. Thank you so much. And I'm like, this is a two-way thing. You're giving it to me. You're here. You're coming back. You're trusting the process, and so that's really what's been kind of keeping me going. But it is difficult. I noticed in myself, actually, I was reflecting on this yesterday, that there's kind of this. At the depth of my being, there is this kind of just it's a bit of a kind of like a sinking feeling, because I'm missing like family back home. I've got my daughter in another country as well, so there's a lot of stuff going on. But what I noticed, and it's actually nice that I was just actually reflecting on this, because I hope this can help someone else. But even though there is that, there's space around it, and I'm okay with it. And even when I've got that feeling, which is a yearning and a longing to be with those I love, I can still experience moments of joy, enthusiasm, and meaningful connection, right? So
yeah, and that's been challenging. That's been challenging for people to experience joy during this pandemic.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the thing is that even when times are really tough, and I've got a series of meditations that Insight Timer asked me to publish, and they've helped thousands of people, called "When Times Are Tough," and that's really about just kind of like acknowledging, without kind of trying to change it, without trying to, move away from the pain or the particular challenge, but actually kind of make space for it and shed light on it with perspective. And
that's a great segue into actually, you've already been doing teachable moments, which I love about you, man. You go straight to it. Let's do a little teachable moment here. But if I would ask you the simple question, and not so simple question, who are you? How would you answer, who are you?
I'm a normal human being that recognizes my normalness, and in recognizing my normalness, I move into a spiritual sense of self.
Ooh.
Wow. And that wasn't, do you know what, Skip? That wasn't even pre-planned. I promise you. That sounded like it was. I just thought, hang on a minute, he's got one up on me now. What am I going to say? And then that just came.
You were downloading some spiritual nuggets, I like to call. These are spiritual nuggets you're downloading, and allow yourself to be in the flow. Hello. Get yourself into the flow, and just keep downloading. So what I love, and I don't know if you know Panache Desai, he always says that our humanity is a gateway to our divinity. That's the same thing that I heard. I love how you put that I'm just a normal human being experiencing this in a normal way. This realness is a great message.
It's a really great message, and this ties into probably what you're going to ask me next. But I'm really passionate about that, right? What we need to do is to recognize and come to have this relationship with ourselves, that the normal human experiences that we have inside the skin, thoughts, feelings, sensations, and urges, but let's just make that simple and say thoughts and feelings, right? The way that we're taught and the things we see on social media and how that we've been brought up and, maybe even taught at school and the conversations we have with our friends, what happens is that we tend to pick up this negative thought narrative or a negative feeling narrative. Now, what I mean by that is that when we have what are actually normal thoughts and feelings, but they might be unhelpful thoughts and uncomfortable feelings, there's this narrative because of the way we've been conditioned, through, like I said, all those examples that I gave, that we treat our thoughts as though they're something we shouldn't have.
Yes.
And we treat our feelings, our inner world, as though it's something we should struggle with.
Yes.
So what that means is when there's this negative thought narrative, it's like, well, I'm having this thought, this is a bad thought, this is a negative thought, I'm a bad person, I'm a negative person. No way. And this is what gets us caught up. This is what gets us into the hamster wheel of being caught up in our thoughts and thinking that we are so much less than the magnificence of who we actually are. We are reducing ourselves to a thought and thinking thoughts that we experience. We didn't come out. You weren't born, Skip, right? You weren't born thinking the thought, I'm not good enough or anything. Right. Yeah.
That was the point that I was going to make, that, we are taught these negative thoughts from our families, from our teachers, from the society. We are taught to think that it is not right to love someone who you love. We've been taught this. And part of the work, I always say, is all about re-educating. We've been miseducated. Let's re-educate ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the same. So I like to call it the negative thought narrative. It's the same with feelings, right? It's the same with our emotions. So it's like, oh, this is a negative feeling. And what I like to say in my live events on Insight Timer, I say, well, let's have an energies in motion check-in. Because energies in motion, when we condense that sentence, we've got the word emotion. And when we can treat our feelings as energies in motion, whether they're desirable or undesirable, what we're doing is recognizing them as energies in motion. And as we observe our thoughts and feelings that are normal human experiences, we're in that higher level of consciousness, even if it's only for a second or two. Because it's not like we tick the box and it's like, oh, I'm just this observing presence and this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life, right? The dance of life is oscillating in and out of this, right? Oscillating in and out of it. And we need to give ourselves permission for having these normal human experiences. And I know, the first thing that we can naturally ask ourselves is but, surely this is not, what do you mean this thought is normal? This is not a normal thought. Other people don't have these thoughts. But actually the science as well shows that they do. And that's how we've evolved and how the brain has evolved over that period of time. And so if we can recognize this is just my mind, this is just my mind trying to, number one, either protect me or number two, keep me from discomfort in some way. And it's just doing it in a way that doesn't really work. It doesn't really work.
In your work with children and family and seeing you have your daughter, where do you think this negative, these thoughts are wrong? Where do you think we start to really develop that? And where is it really ingrained in us of these negative thoughts? At what age? And so I want our listeners and our viewers to really, if you have children, to begin to identify so we can start the education right away. You're okay. And you're beautiful just the way you are. And so when do you see that coming through as our children begin to develop?
Yeah, sure. So, look, I guess the thing is Skip, is that we me and you and probably everybody listening here, when they think back to their school, they didn't get these essential life skills. They didn't get taught about emotions. They didn't get taught about like thoughts and how to unhook from thoughts and make space for their emotions, right? That would just been like, what? Right? So really, it's like, it's a good thing to recognize that as adults, we can still grow through this stuff.
Yes.
By noticing our thoughts and feelings and giving them space, we are growing through it. And when you look at the neuroplasticity, with whatever we're doing, the brain is changing and adapting to accommodate for whatever we're doing. So first off, I just wanted to say that. But with regards to kids and you know, from when they're very younger, I mean, I don't know a great deal about developmental psychology, but the little I do know is that, yeah, kids basically pick up from their role models, whoever's around them, right? Which obviously includes their parents. And the way that we as parents might teach and show our kids, not necessarily teach, but we're showing them, because whatever we're doing, we're basically teaching them, right?
Yes.
How do I handle my emotions? How do I express these? And it's really important for us to be able to, if you want your kids to have a head start, remember that it's to let go of that notion of, oh yeah, but I'm now in my adult life and everything's just, it's game over now, right? This really isn't about that. Like, that's why I kind of like be part of the change, and I work with actually more adults than I do kids. But yeah, to be able to kind of like just be that role model for kids. And even if you do slip up, and even if you do fall away from the type of person that you want to be, like every single human being does, to, you know, that reconciliation and that kind of like honest communication after that, like, you know, daddy got really upset then, and daddy's very sorry about that. The kids need to see that as well. So that can be a win as well, right? Yeah. If and when we do, well, when I should say, we do kind of slip up and say, because we will.
And what you're talking about more and more, I'm hearing about spiritual awakening here. And I would love to hear about your own spiritual awakening, and in your definition of a spiritual awakening, what is it? And please share a little bit of yours.
Yeah, sure. So, that's a huge question. Like,
we ask big questions here.
Like I'm just yeah. Like, so for me, first off, there are frequency holders in the world, as Eckhart Tolle talks about, right, in his book The New Earth. And there are some people that are frequency holders that haven't even read a spiritual book in their life. What he means is frequency holders, as in they're very accepting people, and they connect in ways that bring people together, and they've just got this lovely energy. And I'm somebody that has read quite a lot of spiritual books and put a lot of practice in myself to become a frequency holder. And then I fall out, and then I fall away from being a frequency holder, and then I come back again, and I'm okay with falling away from that. But and I know that some people that, you know, particularly actually in regards to talking about Eckhart Tolle, he had a profound spiritual awakening. For me, myself, I have had little, they are profound, but not in the sense where he like literally was completely different one day from the next. For me, I just had these spiritual encounters that couldn't quite be explained. And the more that I set my attention towards spirituality and the unknown, the more these little things started to manifest in my life. So the first time, which can sound probably not that amazing, but for me, I was like, wow, that was something that I can't explain. One time this was probably my first spiritual encounter. I went to the beach, and I was going through a particular struggle, and I asked the waves, I don't know why, I asked the waves, and I felt, and the waves gave me the answer by how big they were. And it was just like I knew which wave was going to come, what size it was going to be. So it was like a small wave for no and a big wave for yes. And I was asking these questions, but I knew that a big one was going to come and give me the yes. So I already knew the answer, but the wave was saying, I am the answer as well.
Well, you were tapped into divine nature, my friend. That is so incredibly profound. I've not had the wave experience, but I've had the wind experience. I have been in my backyard and asking Gaia, please show me what I need to know. And all of a sudden I feel this wind, the gush of wind coming on my back. I'm going, oh, you're speaking to me. You're speaking. That is very profound. I'm going to have to go to the beach and talk to the waves, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, that was a lot. That was a long time ago, and there's been other ones as well. And I've been going to, for not very frequently, but every now and again, like going to like spiritualist churches as well that are more open to definitely this, just like you're doing here. Exactly, Skip. Being very open and actually giving people the permission, not that they need it, but letting them know that they are the true. They can be the true expressions of who they want to be. And this is the era that we're moving into. That is spirituality. We're moving into an era where you don't have to necessarily think a certain way or sit a certain way when you're meditating or whatever. It's actually about the relationship between you and you, and you being the true expression of who you want to be in that moment.
And that's ever expanding as well, Reuben. What you're talking about is that how I connected with God when I was 20 is different now that I'm 57, and it's more expansive. It's more a deeper of relationship. And I love how we give ourselves, and I love that word, give yourself permission, or we give ourselves permission to find the path that we are being called to be on for this certain amount of time. What is your spiritual practice? Do you do yoga? Are you fitness? What's your jam with your body? What's your spiritual practice with your body?
Yeah, sure. So I meditate every day for 22 minutes because 22 is my favorite number. So
wow, I love it.
Yes. Yeah. And I got this this yoga teacher gave me this very simple all over stretching regime. So I actually just do that, and that just takes about 4 minutes. So I have that, and then I set some intention. Yeah, because I understand that yoga is something that is quite incredible, and at the moment I'm juggling so much that I can't do everything, right? So I do a bare minimum of that kind of stretching, and it's an all over body thing, like I say. So yeah, there's that. In the morning, I think of 3 things in my day that I'm likely to encounter that I'm grateful for. And then at the end of the day, I say to myself, what are 3 things that went well, which is a similar gratitude thing. And I've been doing that for ages, and that's actually in my course, Tools for Self-Growth, the Recall Review Ritual, which is really simple. But yeah, that's me with my ritual, and I do that every day. However, on the days where I don't, I'm okay with that. So I might do it 6 days a week instead of 7 sometimes.
I love it. I love that. You mentioned your courses, and if we could bring up Mindful Creation's website so our viewers can see it. And I want you to please talk about Mindful Creation and what is it, and your courses, and we call that the purpose. You have tapped into your purpose and why you're here. And I love that you are changing this world. So let's talk a little bit about what you are doing, your purpose.
Yeah, sure. So I sat at the dinner table one time years ago, and as I was there, I had this sense that, and I'd already started doing this work, but then I was like, I want to make a difference in 1 million people's lives. I want to make a significant difference in 1 million people's lives. And here's the thing. I didn't tell anyone about that. I didn't tell anyone about that because it seemed so far out there with regards to the little work that I'd done. And it wasn't an avoidance technique. It wasn't like me just going, I'm not going to say it because of X, Y, and Z. It was actually, I knew that this was a journey that I was on, and it needed me to just continue to gently work with that before kind of announcing it like that. Yes. And so with Mindful Creation, like my slogan is be part of the change, and being part of the change is about the transformations we make on the inside, right? The transformations we make on the inside. and be part of the change. So what is that? Well, you are part of this change. All of your audience that are listening right now, you are part of this change. And the beautiful thing with this is to recognize that we have the capacity for meaningful connection. That sounds quite obvious, meaningful connection, of course. But we also have the capacity to be okay with not being okay. And that is also one way that we can be part of the change. We also have the capacity to be able to not take our thoughts so seriously. And when we have the tools to be able to do that, it can help a lot more than just going, hey, I'm just going to notice my mind. And we also have the being part of the change as well is also getting clear on some of the things in life that actually really do matter, and increasing those as a way of reducing some of the meaningless things that we tend to get caught up in, like meaningless distractions and things that don't really serve us. They're just kind of there and we're doing them and we don't really feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned, Reuben, you mentioned don't take your thoughts so seriously. And we have either a listener or a viewer right now just took that thought very seriously, what you said. What do you mean not to take my thoughts so seriously? I have serious thoughts. What is the course correction when we find ourselves taking our thoughts so serious? What is the course correction for us?
It's great. I'm glad one of your listeners asked that, because this is where we need to get into it. Because if we just take this at face value, it's like, yeah, what's he talking about? What's this guy talking about? Look, here we go, right? 65,000 thoughts a day. That's what we have, like one every 1.2 seconds. And due to how, from the eons of back in the day, we had to have a barrage of thoughts that looked at the world as though it was a problem and not quite good enough for the functions of survival. Like there was fear around the corner, like a saber-toothed tiger behind a rock, a tribe on a hill, they might be back there again, etc., etc., etc. So this is the science shows us that actually, about 65,000 thoughts a day. And when we unpack that, it gets really more interesting. Between 50 to 80% of those automatic thoughts, so those automatic thoughts that are part of a program, right, that we've had programmed into us, right, that are part of a program, 50 to 80% of those can actually be seen as negative or unhelpful in some way in the modern world. But back then, back in the day, they weren't, because when the more identified we were with our mind to do with these automatic thoughts about, you know, this is a danger here, this is a danger here, I need to compare myself here, where do I fit in with the tribe, am I down the bottom, am I at the top, what about the other tribe members? We needed to have those thoughts in order for us to survive. So your ancestors were the ones that did survive, so they had the sharpest tools in the box, i.e. the mind. And when I talk about the mind, by the way, I'm not talking about awareness, I'm talking about a process of information, pictures, words, and like a sound that plays out in our heads. And so what happens here is that what I mean by not taking our thoughts so seriously, choosing the thoughts that are helpful and letting the thoughts that are unhelpful come and go. So boycotting these two categories of, the category of like positive or negative, and maybe having a little shift here from positive or negative to helpful or unhelpful. Is this thought helping me be the type of person that I want to be, this spiritual being that I want to be? Or is it not helping me? And if it's not helpful, let that come and go. There's no need to put up a fight with it. There's no need to take those thoughts seriously and let them represent who you really are, which you are much more than those automatic thoughts that pop through your head. So helpful or unhelpful. And the reason we have, it's more helpful to have the unhelpful and the helpful and unhelpful category is because when we use positive and negative, positive's great, obviously, but when we buy into that negative thing, we buy into the negative thought narrative that I was talking about earlier, which means that I'm having a negative thought. This is a bad thought. I shouldn't be having this thought, that, you know, I am this person. And you're not. You're so much more.
Yeah, but, you know, Reuben, and not a but, and the question here, how important are affirmations and mantras?
I like affirmations and mantras a lot. But one thing I would say to that is, and I've got some on Insight Timer, is that what we can do is kind of try and have these positive affirmations and mantras that are so far removed from the struggle that we're going through at that time, that what it can do is feed into, and some of you viewers might have heard of, that I can't go into quite now because we're pushed for time, but the toxic positivity thing. So if we're really trying hard to think and feel a certain way and have these really super positive affirmations, what we can do is trip ourselves up because we're clinging on to that, which means that we're going to reject all the other unhelpful thoughts that are normal. And when we get caught up in that, we're buying into that negative, we're causing more of a struggle for ourselves. So with the affirmations and mantras, I really love them, but come into a space where you can, even if your mind goes, oh, I don't agree with that one, put your hand on your heart and go, that's a nice affirmation.
Yes.
And also, as Bruce Lipton says, from the biology of the biology of belief, one of the biggest spiritual hacks you can do with regards to affirmations is listen to them just before sleep. And it's even, apparently he says, it's even more effective than going through a course of hypnosis, because your subconscious, your conscious mind shuts down and your subconscious mind is open to these affirmations like a sponge to water.
Oh, I love that. One of the things that I have on Insight Timer myself is a sleep meditation, a peaceful sleep meditation of mantras that you can go to sleep saying mantras. The other thing I teach about mantras and affirmations, and what you just mentioned, we must align our feeling with what we're saying. And if we can't get to that place of I am grateful and feel grateful, we're combating that energy there. I love that you brought that in. So we're going to get into our yes moment. And this is, yes is an acronym we use on the show, stands for you expressing spirit. Yeah. I pull out and I just let you inspire our viewers and our listeners and just share from your heart. And this is our Reuben Lowe yes moment.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I've said some of it before and I'm going to repeat it again because we need repetition. We need to have this repetition in different ways and sometimes the same way in order for that to kind of go in and us to be able to experience our universe in a different way. So what I would say is, with regards to a yes moment, let's keep it really simple. I can't remember how I termed it earlier with the humanness, right? Recognizing that we are normal human beings having normal human experiences. Whatever thoughts and feelings you have, even if your thoughts tell you this is not a good thought, this is a negative thought, I shouldn't be having this thought, they are normal human experiences. And the reason it's so much more helpful for us to be able to feel them and see them as normal human experiences, because otherwise we get caught up in that rat race of being in, or the hamster wheel of being caught up in these thoughts in a way, or these feelings in a way where we just have an inner struggle with ourselves. So what this is about is, yes, meaningful connection, connecting to the present moment when we can, in those little glimmers of joy that we experience. But it's also about recognizing that we have the capacity to be able to notice when we notice, I am noticing the thought that, I am noticing the thought that I'm not good enough. I am noticing, you are the noticer. I am noticing these feelings. I am noticing energies in motion. You are the noticer. You can make space for it. Usually when we have uncomfortable feelings, the default mode is one of contraction. And what this is about is going, can I give myself permission to be here now? Can I open up to these normal thoughts and feelings that can push me around? And I guess I'm talking about tough times at the moment. So being okay with not being okay. This is another way that we can be part of the change. Being okay with not being okay, recognizing these thoughts and feelings in the heat of the moment when I'm struggling, or somebody said something to me and it's pushed my buttons. In those moments, our brains are not on our side. But we have the capacity to be able to recognize more and more, can I make space for these thoughts and feelings? Can I recognize these thoughts and feelings and normal human experiences? And in doing so, I am coming into this space of awareness, this space of observation, this space of essence. And I feel that I can make space for these, even if it's about just being okay with not being okay in these times of struggle. So this is a really powerful message, and I guess there's so many. I could have spoken about so many other things like enhancing meaningful connection and appreciating and getting a balance on some of the things in your life that really matter. But for me, it's like I'm really passionate as well about the tough times, when times are tough, and recognizing your inner strength, which is opening up to the difficult. Being an open-hearted warrior is not just about opening up to love, compassion, and gratitude. It's about opening up to all of the human experiences that we have. Just as Rumi says in his poem, The Guest House, if you want to Google that, it's beautiful. That comes from spirit as well. And it talks about this human being is like a guest house, and there's so many of these experiences we have. So I recommend just having a look at that, maybe Googling that. I want to thank you for your time. And really, like I said, I could have focused on some of these other things, but it felt right for me to talk about when we're not okay, when we're struggling, when we're going through tough times, when we've just been triggered by someone or a family member or whoever, right? Those thoughts and feelings that we experience, can we recognize, even in the heat of the moment, like, these are normal human experiences. Can I be okay with having these? And in the very act of doing that and recognizing your normal human experiences, you are stepping into your spiritual power, even if it doesn't feel comfortable, because that's what an open-hearted warrior is about. So I think that's it. Thank you, Skip. Namaste, guys. I appreciate everybody that's been able to listen.
I could talk to you all day long. I mean, we could go, and I know I'm going to be on your podcast. I don't know. I'll get up on at the 2:00 time or whatever it is. It is 3:45 your time, y'all. That was some powerful nuggets right there. My brother has, right now he is 3:45 in Australia, and I'm so grateful that you've taken the time to interrupt your sleep and come and share with our audience here. You are such a divine brother. And the work you do on Insight Timer, if you're Insight Timer, I want you to please follow Reuben and look at the work he does. He has courses, he has guided meditations, he does live events. We're at opposite sides. You do your live events when I'm asleep. I do my live events when you're asleep. And we finally got to come together. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Great,
Awesome.
Grateful. And how can we follow you on Instagram? And I know you have a YouTube page, Instagram, Facebook. What is your handle where people can find you?
Mostly my attention's with Instagram. So yeah, Instagram is @mindfulcreation, all one word, no S. Most of my social media is mindful creation. There's a little bit of stuff on YouTube as well. But other than that, yeah, the website's going to be improved, and I've got more stuff coming. But at the moment, most of my stuff's on Insight Timer. There are some other platforms as well that I work with, other apps. But yeah, as you can see now, that's my website at the moment. So if you've got the Couples Connection Challenge is about it's strengths based, so it's actually looking at what the strengths that you've got already, and that's like a free challenge that you can do. And then if you like the rest of it, you can pay for it. And there's that course for kids as well, something for kids, which is a story and a micro course all in one, 10 days for 9 minutes a day, helping kids with essential life skills that they don't get at school. Cheers, Skip.
That is so powerful. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but I've had a couple of clients who have said to me, I'm struggling with the person I'm living with, my partner, my husband, and through this pandemic. And I'm always like, hold on, this too shall pass. But you're giving some real practical work as well. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And everyone, please follow Reuben. And also you can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. I am Rev Skip Jennings. And you can follow me, and we're dropping nuggets and things that we can do. And this will actually be replayed on Instagram very soon. I'm going to upload it later on this afternoon. Also, if you like listening to a podcast, hey, In the Flow with Rev Skip is now on a podcast. It's on Spotify, it's on Pandora, it's on iHeartRadio, it's on Google Pod, and soon to be on Apple Pod as well. So if you like listening to podcasts, I invite you to download, subscribe it, tell everyone about it, reshare it, do everything else we can spread the word about New Thought Media Network and In the Flow with Rev Skip. Also, if you want to donate, you can donate to New Thought Media Network. We're making a difference upon this planet. That's what we're here to do. You can go to ntmedia.org/donate. And if you want to support my ministry, which is Rev Skip Jennings, you can go to PayPal or Venmo and find me at skip@skipjennings.com and support the movement. Don't forget, y'all, you can take me home and you don't have to cook me breakfast. Go to my website, skipjennings.com. Find out about my book, the little book for big transformations. Find out about the Awake Shop, which is my clothing line that we're selling right now, and Get Your Pride collection that's out there as well. And also you can find out about my spiritual app, and you can get a link directly to Insight Timer, where you can find me and you can find Reuben as well. Yeah, I want to bring Reuben back into the feed one more time and just give him a heartfelt thank you so very much, my brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are divine.
Thank you so much, Skip. Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. And hello to everybody. And thank you for listening to me. Appreciate it. Beyond words. Cheers.
My pleasure. And next week, I want you to drop in because we're going to have Reverend Arlene Campbell on, and Arlene Hilton, excuse me. And I'm just so used to bringing that camel out. She's going to be on. I'm really looking forward to that. Please join us next week. And that's it. And remember, transformation is a choice, and you can choose today. Blessings and much love, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of In the Flow. If you enjoyed this programming, please help us spread this joy. Be sure and give this video a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. New Thought Media Network can be found on Facebook or our YouTube channel. Additional contributions are greatly appreciated at ntmedia.org/donate or find Rev Skip on PayPal and Venmo. Tune in on Fridays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 Mountain, when Rev Skip welcomes a new guest. Until then, faith, love, openness, and willingness keeps us in the flow.